Are you going live in the video countdown?
The music is flames.
Every time, like, we need a new intro with like just maybe some like 80s vibes, some beach vibes or something like that. I don't know. I'm really wanting the beach right now.
I can see that. I have a beach nearby.
Yeah. Hey, Dan, speaking of beach, how's the weather in Tampa, man?
Oh, man, it's beautiful. It was vest weather on Monday. Had to throw on the old Fratigonia vest. But we're back into the high 70s right now. I'm telling you, it's going to be perfect weather here in Tampa for the next 7 months or so.
Vest weather. Let's keep the body warm and the arms cold.
That's right. Well, it's fashion, right?
Yeah, it's fashion. You can't hide fashion.
That's right.
I don't think that's the saying. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in to Unicorn Finders. We were going live this week, just the three of us. So the original group, the three Unicorn Finders, which I found out we're going to start incorporating the term blessing because a group of unicorns is called a blessing.
That's right.
So as you are tuning in to watch us for probably 3 seconds before you log off, tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're listening from, watching from. We'd love to hear from you. That would be awesome. But again, so this podcast, if you are new to this podcast and this podcast idea, Dan, Jake, and I, we formed this podcast from basically we led a session on marketing and personal branding for our company's global conference back when we used to travel at the end of last year. And it went over really well. And we said, hey, we may have something. And so fast forward, it took a pandemic to do it. I mean, listen, I'm going to be honest. This is one of our hobbies during the pandemic, but very thankful to be with these guys today. Again, Dan is from our Tampa office. Jake is from our Raleigh office. And you know what? By the way, hey, Michael Kiever, thanks for tuning in, man. Thompson Station, Tennessee. I love it. So
Thompson.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Just like you. Hey, real quick announcement. So Dan, Jake, and I are going to be leading a meetup seminar. I need to post the link. I will work on that as we're talking. But next Tuesday, it's virtual. It's completely live. So hopefully you guys can attend there, and I'll throw the link up here shortly. So without further ado, we're going to talk about onboarding this week, right? So companies and how they fall through the cracks with onboarding and the importance of it. Because I think there is an importance of onboarding for many different reasons. And so all that being said, Jake, Dan, why don't y'all take it away? Would love to hear your thoughts on how you feel about onboarding, if companies are doing it well, and if they're not doing it well, where they're missing the mark.
I mean, everyone's been having to pivot over the last 6 months. First of all, figuring out if they were even going to hire anyone. and then as soon as they realized that they could, they still had a lot of revenue that they needed to burn through and a lot of projects to do. Now it's, oh crap, now we got to find a whole new way of engaging our new hires. And I've seen some really cool stuff, whether people are posting on LinkedIn or just people that we've placed in different companies or whatever. And we've gotten everything from, I saw one company gave out a beanbag chair for their home office with their logo on the back of it, which I want
a beanbag.
My kids yeah, I was like, how do you ship a beanbag chair with your laptop? That's awesome. And then you got you got AirPods, and you've got all the normal swag and things like that. But some of the most exciting things were so in our office, what we used to do when we were in person, we were hiring, is that on people's first day, we'd have like everyone in the office just like crowd into the foyer when they were joining in, and we would just be like, yeah,
that's cool.
And the more that we grew, the louder that got, which was just an amazing first day experience. Whether we had 1, 2, 5, 10 people start, we'd come in and just start chanting. So what I've seen is some other companies were doing something similar, but they did it with a Zoom link kind of hype, try to create what you can. Where first day, instead of going straight into just like, here's your onboarding paperwork and here's what benefits are and here's what all this kind of stuff is. They went straight to hype, which I thought was really cool. One, because not everyone maybe was a part of that hiring interview process, right? So they might not have got to meet members of that team. And then two, just feeling that hype. And the third great thing that we had another local company here do is they had people start on Thursdays, which I thought was really cool because one, you get a short week. It's a little overwhelming with paperwork and stuff in general. And but two, everyone else can kind of already have planned most of what the fires or anything that would have happened in that week. They could take.
I like a Thursday start.
Yeah, you could take that time.
I think that's
Thursday,
smart.
Friday to dive into the new team member, right? Get to know and all this kind of stuff, and then they go into the weekend just feeling amped, ready to rock on Monday, and you get rid of the Monday jitters really quickly. And get right back into a weekend. Those are my top three.
That's a lot. That's a lot going on there, Jake. I want to dive into all of that because I feel like you did like 71 different podcasts in one there. There's a couple of things that I think are super important. One, I do like this starting on a day that's not a Monday. I think there's a lot of stuff that happens over the weekend. I don't feel like people are 100% invested in like an early 8 a.m. Monday start as employees, right? You've got fires over the weekend. You've got whatever happened, especially on the tech side. There's stuff to catch up on. I want you to deliver like the best version of yourself as a company on your first day. So whatever that looks like strategy-wise, the idea of starting on a Thursday is fascinating to me. I'd love to explore that more like just in my head as we're talking here. But a couple of things that I love about onboarding is number one is I love when companies have a plan for onboarding. And it sounds
you know what? That is highly underrated. That is highly underrated.
You know, I was with a company yesterday for lunch. We were playing a little golden tea at their office, eating some Chipotle, and we were talking. They have a new employee starting on Monday. Not that we placed, but that's starting on Monday, and the person that normally is doing it is going to be out. And she's like, you know, I'm going to call him Bob. I said, Bob, I need you to take care of his onboarding. He's like, well, what do we do in onboarding? And she's like, well, we kind of do this and we kind of do this. And I was like, you guys don't have like an onboarding plan? And I didn't mean to sound sarcastic, but it's like, because no matter how big or how small
not being sarcastic? Get out of town.
This is the first time ever.
First for everything.
I think it's so important in your first day that you know what you're doing and what you know you need to accomplish, right? So whether that's your HR paperwork, whether that's showing somebody where the bathroom is, you know, whether that's showing somebody where the coffee creamer is, whatever it is, the plan is so important because that's your first day and that's indicative of everything that you do as a company, right? So if you can't create a plan for your first day, then how can I trust my entire livelihood with you when you knew that I was starting?
So it's funny. So my brother, this is completely unprompted. My brother never watches my stuff. So my brother just got a job and he goes, I just went through onboarding at a new company. Couldn't believe how much better it made me feel knowing they had a plan in place.
So Brandon, I want to know a little bit more about what that plan looked like. But for me, the first day should look like this for onboarding, at least the first morning. Get all of your necessary paperwork out of the way. Number two is teach people how to be a user of a company laptop, your company's laptop, right? Here's where apps are.
So good. I don't even think about this stuff. This is why there's three of us.
Yeah. But you know, where are things? How do I get to the share drive if we're using that? Or where is SharePoint? Or like, do you have this like bookmark or this thing on your Google that might say like managed bookmarks? Like what's in there? Like what are things that me as an employee, I should know? Doesn't mean you need to go over every single piece, but you're going to see certain things. Hey, this is what this is. This is where this is, right? You're going to explore and all that. Number three is make that person feel welcome, right? Like whether it's a large crowd of people right when you walk in that's screaming or yelling, or if it's as simple as like going to lunch.
Here's one. So Brandon, hardware was ordered and arrived prior to start date. Bro, that does.
You want to know how often that doesn't happen?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, for real. Comment what else because I'm genuinely curious. I mean, I haven't talked to my brother about this. Brandon's another one. Yeah, Brandon and I don't talk that much. I'm just kidding. We do. IT was incredible. Step-by-step guide to set up hardware was done in 30 minutes.
You know how important it is like to have your laptop? I mean, I've had people start and it's like, your laptop's not ready. And I understand that sometimes things are going to happen. But, hey, your laptop's not ready. Just like sit around, like here's some company material. Like if you're not ready for somebody to start, pay them, but don't start them, right? Just say, hey, I don't want you to just sit around. Here's some stuff that you can do. Or like, as a like alternative to like you messing around on your computer, here is like things that you can do to prepare yourself better. But like, don't just start somebody for the sake of starting somebody if you're not ready. Because that's your first impression.
Why do you think companies don't put an emphasis on onboarding?
I'll throw a nice analogy for that.
I like analogies.
It might not be nice, but it's an analogy. You have to think interviewing is often the dating phase, right? Where you're trying to put your best foot forward. And then for some reason, people are so bad at relationships in general that once you get into the committed phase, you don't feel like you have to keep trying anymore because that battle has been won, or they're already, they're bought in. Let's be a part of this, not realizing that you don't get the most out of that relationship by continuing with what you start. One of my mom's dating advice when I was younger was,
here we go.
Don't ever start something that you're not going to keep doing because it's only going to set you up for disappointment. So like if you're someone that like comes in real hard and you're like, we give candy bars on everybody's desk every single day. And you do it for the first month and also you're like, we don't do that anymore. Just out of nowhere.
Do you want to know why
well.
companies don't do it and don't do it well? It's because it's hard and it's challenging and it requires you to think ahead, right? And for so many things that we do in a business setting, we either are completely bottom line focused of what are we doing to drive revenue or drive profit. But in reality, it's the people that drive profit, right? It's the people that you've spent your time. Talent acquisition, as we've talked about, is so expensive, right? Why spend all of that money on job boards, job ads, all of that time that you've spent with all of your managers, directors, whomever interviewing? Maybe you spent money on Vaco and use a talent firm, whatever it is, but you spent a bunch of money only for their first day to be like, oh, we don't have your laptop ready. Hey, like there's snacks over there. The team's going to be in meetings. You're probably going to get lost in this meeting. So just like stick around. It's like,
so this is great. So Alex, so our boy Alex, tuning in from Nashville. Alex said, if you ever had a first day of school, and Brandon comment on a few more things. So if you ever had a first day of school at a brand new school, how did you feel walking in that day? That is similar, in my opinion. Show them around and introduce them to everyone in the office. So Dan, that's exactly like you just said.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's like, why go through all of that effort? It's like a dog and pony show, right? Or you're painting a mirage at some point that isn't going to get delivered. And that's going to be felt, right? At some point that's going to catch up to you. So make your employees feel on the first day the way you did when you were recruiting them.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. So Brandon's given us 3 and 4 points. Company intranet is fully baked. You file a JIRA ticket for HR, IT, et cetera, and you get a response within 30 minutes. I had access to VPN before the end of the day, which was wild. The fourth thing, during onboarding, they had specific people take you through different aspects of the company. Last 1 hour was held for you to meet your manager and ask questions, et cetera. Also, we started on a Tuesday. Sorry for the multiple comments. I don't know how to use LinkedIn.
LOL.
It's not
Brandon
Slack.
Goes, true.
Not Slack.
Brandon's comments. Truly, the company internet is so good, and I underestimate its value because it has been so bad at previous companies.
Hey, Brandon, can you shoot me whatever's good about it so I can pass that along to some people that I know in the internet business?
Seriously.
Yeah, because I think that's important. But like, here's an intranet or a SharePoint, and then I want you guys to talk because you guys are much better at talking than I am. But you have this big SharePoint.
No, you're the best talker out of all the talkers.
No, but so like you have a SharePoint, right? What's on that SharePoint? What am I going to find, right? What are folders? How do you guys do management? All of that stuff. Also, onboarding isn't a one-day thing, right? It's like, here's your first day.
Just throwing some one-liners.
It's had some.
You know what it is?
Painful onboarding in the past.
Well, no.
Hey, look, Mark just commented, Brandon, wow, VPN on the first day. Nobody does that.
That's right.
Boom. Progress.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that way you can start illegally downloading on Napster right away. Right. So
that's all I do.
But I mean, I think that that's so important. Like, build a plan out for what onboarding looks like. It's okay. Here's your first day. Here's your first couple of days. Here's your first week. Right. What did we overwhelm you with so much in your first week that we need to go and have refreshers, right? Yeah. Let's follow up at the end of week 2. Let's follow up at the end of the first month, right? Where are we at with you learning all this stuff? Because we just assume, because most people that are doing onboarding haven't been onboarded at that company in a really long time, that they forget that there's things that they've got that they have to remember that are just so natural to them that it's like, hey, let's go back and revisit these things that are so natural and so normal for us, to make sure that you get it or you understand.
I saw this one company that was doing similarly. I mean, to work on the first day of school analogy, there is when you get that first day and you've got like, hey, the honor student takes the new student around and they walk them around and they're kind of.
I was never the honor student.
Master. Yeah, we know they didn't even let you in the school. Yeah, so they shout out homeschool. But they just kind of like stayed with them that whole time, and another member of the team, right? So you kind of get that friend at work right away, and hopefully that person rotates, on who it is based off of X, Y, and Z, and they make that plan to have them be a part of it. So it's not all just on that leader of that team or that one HR representative or the office manager or whatever, so they can assimilate.
What's crazy is I can't believe I'm saying this, but like I'm just thinking as we're talking. My dad, when he ran the Outback Steakhouse in my hometown, he had some of the best onboarding processes ever. Like, so I started out as a busboy, right? Yeah. So literally, like, you came in early before the shift, you sat down with him, he set expectations, right? So you had one-on-one time with the manager, which obviously was my dad, which it's a whole nother conversation. But like, so obviously, like you got that one-on-one time, right? Expectations were set. Yeah. And then what would happen is that you would get paired up with a buddy that day or that night, and you would follow that person around the entire night, and you didn't even have to work a ton. Like, that person would do most of the work as a busboy. You would be there. He would show you. Obviously, we always tried to see how many glasses, because Outback used to have those those things you can like. Brandon, your dad sounds awesome.
All right.
So I mean, all that being said, I think it's important. And I think onboarding is so missed because it's not ROI generating, right? I think it's missed because you're going to have to take producers out of your business, or you're going to have to take senior devs out from coding, and it's going to hurt your ROI. But what companies don't understand, and I don't know why, I think it's laziness.
Yep.
Right. I think people are inherently lazy. I think companies are very lazy.
Yep.
And then I think too.
Yeah.
And I think companies don't understand the value of their people enough.
Yeah.
Like, companies do not take care of if you are watching this still 18 minutes and 22 seconds in, and you feel like your company truly like gives you what you need.
Yeah.
From that perspective, please comment, or if you've been at a company, please comment, because I will tell you that onboarding is your first impression, is your first date, and I will say most companies screw that up.
So I'm not going to tap myself on the back to say this is a great topic.
Not a big deal,
because I'm the one that brought it up and said we should talk about it. But the reason I was, that this idea was kind of top of mind is because I was working with one of my clients now in terms of what they do with onboarding. And I was talking to their VP of people, or whatever awesome job title she had was, so started researching some companies that do things really well. And I remember writing down a few. I know like Eventbrite, and I know there's somebody in the comments that asked about what are some companies that are doing things well. Eventbrite will put up the pictures of new hires around the building every week or whenever people start. That way, not only that way people are learning their name, right? And Eventbrite's obviously a big company, so they're learning their face, they're learning their name. That way, when somebody comes up to you, they're not, hey, you're the new guy or you're the new girl. It's, oh, hey, John, how are you? Right.
Yeah.
I know Netflix does a really good job of having their executives meet with new hires, and not necessarily one-on-one, but the chief product officer and the chief experience officer at Netflix meet with all of their new hires within their first month, right? So that might be virtual. I mean, now it's probably virtual, but whatever it is. And the one thing that I love about them also is that they drive into who their culture is and everything else of what they want to be as a company, like right away. And they indoctrinate of like, hey, this is who we want to be and everything else. And then finally something that
expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of the other things, I think it was Cora, but I forgot. But what Cora does is they give you a pretty big project to start off right away, right? And I know that that's not, capable for every company to do. But one of the things that they do well is to say, hey, we hired you to make an impact. Here's an impactful thing that you can do right away. Because for so long, especially on the tech side, you guys know, it's like, hey, do maintenance on this application for the next 9 months before we have something else. And you're like,
you're in .NET web forms for
you literally told
9
me,
months.
You just stole my joke, but you just told me that you were going to let me play around with Remix. And here I am in web forms, right?
Oh, look at that Remix. Hey, Nader, if you're watching, we follow you.
He just saw you post that on Twitter, Nader, yesterday.
Yeah. Hey, so Mark commented, side issue. I'm a lifetime contractor. If you take a week and a half to get me on board with tech resources, you lost something like 6% of my entire productivity over the life of a 6-month contract. The inefficiency is really expensive.
You're exactly right, Mark. I mean, if you don't have your computer, if you don't have VPN, if you don't have access to tools and everything else, you're losing a lot of money, especially as a contractor, because obviously they're paying a fee on top of that, Mark. So I mean, that's an incredible point. You are now losing money based on inefficiency, right?
Yep.
And go ahead.
I've had enterprise clients not have their laptops ready for our consultants for a week.
Yeah,
absolutely.
A week.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just lazy.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's not caring about people.
Disconnect. Well, sometimes it's lazy, and sometimes it's just when everyone owns something, nobody owns something, right? So
true.
Hey, with this whole group of people that we're having started, but I don't know if HR is going to own that, or if IT, or if the leadership, or if we've got, an onboarding ambassador, I mean, I'm sure you could have a job that's just onboarding.
100%. 100%.
And you're the hype person. You come in, you're like, you got stuff, and and here's who you meet. And man, that'd be a fun
to me, onboarding is not like Jake, like you said. I mean, you can have an ambassador, you can have somebody that's in that role. It's not just an HR role, right? I mean, onboarding is so much more than that. It's a logistics role. In a way, right? It's a logistics role. I need to make sure that this person not only feels 100% welcome right away, that they're part of the team, but also that they have their equipment, that they have the feeling and the passion of what we said to them when we convinced them, especially in this economy, to come work for us compared to a ton of other companies. What do we do to make them feel a part of our culture right away? But a big part of that is making sure that they feel like they're a part of the company, not just like another body at a desk.
So I will say this, and as we wrap up here, if you are still watching 23 minutes through, thank you. It means a lot, and we will get you back on your day at this point. Also,
if you're not watching, it means a lot too. Just different.
Yeah. You mean a lot to us watching or not watching, but the people who are watching have preference. So I think right now, companies need to realize that people are the main asset, especially in a pandemic. Right. I think companies undervalue their people in general, but now, especially even the top performers within whether it's sales or coding or whatever, like companies need to take care of their people more than ever, because I will tell you this, just because we're in a pandemic, the good people can go anywhere.
Yep.
Like there is not a shortage of jobs for the good ones. Right.
Yeah.
Like shout out again. I'm gonna use my brother for an example. And again, he said mom is making him watch this. That's great. Karen is making him watch this. So, but the thing is though, is that like my brother found a job easily during a pandemic. He had multiple offers. Right. If you're good at what you do, you can go anywhere, and companies need to be aware of that and understand that if you hire a good one, your first impression is the onboarding.
Yeah. So final highlights, I guess we've got have a plan, stay on the plan, have a backup plan just in case.
In case, you're sick or something. Yep.
And find a friend at work really quickly. I think those are the top ones from us.
Yep. Absolutely.
But like if you're a company, like give that person somebody. Like, don't just say, hey, go find somebody.
Yeah. Pair them up with somebody. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I forgot which company it is. They give them 3 people on their first day, all from like different parts of their business. And I know that's not able for everybody, but like that gives you exposure. Because if you're just with one person, then you might get I don't want to say jaded, but you might only get one perspective. So
sure,
give them multiple perspectives, especially right away. You only have one time after the first interview to shape their impression of your company to work there.
Well, hey, if you guys want to continue this conversation with us, we'd love to hear everyone's thoughts. You can engage with us either on our LinkedIn page or on our Twitter, which I think you can drop up, or on any of our individual handles, of course. And you can find more at theunicornfinders.com.
Yeah.
Thanks for being in today.
Please check that out. Awesome. Well, boys, thanks again for hanging. It was always a pleasure. And let's do this again next week. Hey, Jake, you want to give a plug for our next week's guest?
Next week's guest. Oh man, super excited. No, that's 2 weeks from now. Yours is next week's guest.
Yeah.
Oh, my next week's guest. Yeah. So tune in. Sorry.
I promise you, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, I promise. We're slowly getting better. So next week, we have a CTO out west. I've been following him over Twitter. His leadership principles are incredible. Building culture, building teams. So really excited to have him on next week. So look forward to obviously us sending his information out so you can check him out. So thanks y'all again for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.